Welcome to today's episode of Two Pigs in the Pod, recording live at Fit Show 2025. We're delighted to be joined by our Charity of the Year, Harry Charlesworth, and the founder of the charity, Hayley Charlesworth. Welcome back to Two Pigs in the Pod as our first returning guest. How have you been, firstly?
Very good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, very busy. But,
good, that's what I like to hear.
Everything is going in the right direction. Yes, all good, thanks.
Nice.
Glad to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and for those that didn't watch our previous episode, you should have. But what is Harry's Pals, and why did you start it up in the first place?
So Harry's Pals is a really small charity based in Northamptonshire, but we support families across the country, and what we do is we support mums and dads who have just had a diagnosis that their child is severely ill or disabled. We're a one-of-a-kind charity offering bespoke emotional support that just isn't available. Nice.
And you're at the Fit Show 2025, and obviously we've got your branding everywhere. How does it feel to be at the show? Is this your first time at Fit Show?
I think it feels great. It's a really great opportunity to meet professionals within the window industry, to have this platform through PiGs to raise awareness of our charity and the cause, and to hopefully try and get more people inspired to support us in some way, whether through one of the events that PiGs are putting on next year.
Nice. And so what are your hopes for the show today? What's your plans for your day here?
I think a little bit of mingling. My husband Andrew Charlesworth, who works for Commerling, I've known about the window industry for a while, but to be able to put names to faces, talk about the charity, talk about the Inca Trail that for next year is going to be a really good opportunity. So it's a great opportunity to mix with a whole new audience.
Yeah, nice. And what have been your first impressions? Obviously you only just got here, but what have been your first impressions walking into the show today?
Well, obviously I'm going to say everyone's wonderful. Yes, amazing actually, a huge show. I've never been to an exhibition this size, so yes, it's going to be a brilliant opportunity to meet a lot of organisations.
Nice. And for those people that maybe not know who Harry's Pals is, obviously you're going to let them know who you are.
Yeah.
How can people get involved?
Anyone that wants to support Harry's Pals can first of all go and have a look on our website. So just Google Harry's Pals, you'll find us on our social media pages. But we are a charity that provides 3 different services. We provide counselling and therapy that is bespoke to meet needs of parents just receiving a heartbreaking diagnosis about their child. So they're mums and dads that are basically told that their child has a life-limiting or life-threatening condition. Really sad situations.
Yeah.
So we're able to get that support to them when they need it. And we also offer short breaks for families, so that for families that otherwise wouldn't be able to get away, to make precious memories, whilst they can. And we also offer, we've started to offer parent support groups.
Right.
So really nice opportunity for families to meet with other parents in a similar position, because when you're in it and you've been given a diagnosis, you feel like you're the only one it's happened to, and you think, why me? So to be able to speak to other families is so important.
Yeah, and do you feel those support groups that you've just started up there, you're hearing the same kind of messages, from the no support that was there? Is it the same sort of thing that parents are speaking about?
They're saying thank God for Harry's Pals, because there's nothing out there. There's no emotional support. We desperately need to speak to a counsellor or a therapist.
Yeah.
We have had families that have said, without your support, I don't know whether I could have continued.
Yeah.
So it's a really dire situations. There's families that aren't able to continue to look after their children. There's families that their mental health is plummeted so much, and the impact on the relationships, siblings of the child with the disability, it's all, it's heartbreaking stuff. So to be able to get to parents and give them their support when they need it really does change the trajectory of the family and their well-being.
Yeah, and do you still, we spoke about it or not when we spoke before, but do you still get people shocked that there was no support for families? They can't believe, when you have a diagnosis like this for your child, that there's nothing out there.
Well, when my son Harry was born, who's the charity's namesake, he suffered strokes on both sides of his brain. And I was really surprised when we was given Harry's diagnosis that there is no emotional support.
Yeah.
We was told that, his needs, he would likely have cerebral palsy, a huge long list. He would need 24-hour care for the rest of his life. So you're almost sort of bereft in, you're losing the child that you thought that you should have had, and then you'll have to take them home and care for them. Overnight, you're becoming a carer, an OT, a dietitian, all these different hats that you've never anticipated. You're not sure you even want to do. I was scared, the thought of that, the prospects, and you're just told to get on with it. And I was horrified that there's no emotional support. How is that tenable to be able to deal with all of that on your own? And that is the consensus of the hundreds and hundreds of families that I speak to. Say, thank you. I'm so pleased that there's a charity like Harry's Pals that is able to bridge that gap.
Yeah. And do you think you've learnt stuff since you obviously founding the charity that you've taken into your daily life? Because obviously you're dealing with it just as much as the people that you're speaking to. Have you brought any sort of things that you do with Harry now that you've taken from classes and speaking to people with Harry's Pals? Yeah,
I think as time goes on, Harry's 10 now, that you learn a lot.
Yeah.
So for me to be able to speak to parents that are, just had a diagnosis, and to be able to share the information I've learned, and that's just not emotional things, that's practical things, is really valuable. And that's why this sort of peer support network that we're starting to develop is so useful, because you're not given the information. You don't get a diagnosis and then somebody says, oh, this is what you need to know. You find that along the way. But to be able to have a central hub like Harry's Pals, where we can help families and we can give them all the information that I've learned, or other families that we're working with have learned over the years, is really invaluable.
Yeah, nice. And after today, when you've been around the show and you've seen lots of people, what's the one message you like to give to people, about Harry's Pals and the future of the charity?
I think the message is, if you've got a child, or if anyone who's got a child, imagine how you'd feel if the outcome was different. Being a carer is incredibly hard. We need to support them. Parent care is often forgotten, and it's just assumed that parents will cope, and the reality is there's not. And unfortunately, more and more families are becoming parent carers every year. There's not the support out there. We're a dinky charity trying to,
take on the world.
Yes, and we've got a big task on our hands. And every single pound, being such a small charity, makes a huge difference. So if there's any way that any organisations listening to this can support Harry's Pals, please get in touch with me, and you can find out my details through our website.
Nice. And what's next for Harry's Pals? You're supported by us, and we're trying to obviously raise lots of money for you through various different things, but what's next for Harry's Pals?
Well, with thanks to your kind support, the plan is that we're going to be able to do more in terms of supporting more hospitals throughout the country, more hospices. So the goal is £100,000, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
That would enable us to support many more hospitals in many more counties, which would be absolutely fantastic. So we'd be able to broaden our reach, raise more awareness of our charity. So it's really exciting to have PiGs on board, and can't thank you enough.
We appreciate it. We absolutely would. Happy to, after we spoke last time, and with Sarah, we were absolutely sure that we wanted to work with you guys. So it's a pleasure to work with you. But is there any events coming up that maybe people here today or after the show can take part in a Harry's Pals event?
Well, we've got lots of events on our website. So we've got the Malvern Hills Challenge, we've got skydiving, and I know skydiving with PiGs as well, which is fantastic. So have a look on our website. We've always got stuff coming up. We've got a bouncy castle inflatable 5K course in Coventry, which looks really good fun. So maybe you want something to do with the family. There's lots of things on our events page of our website.
Nice. And lastly, you've mentioned the website, but how can we contact you, or how can people contact you if they want to find out more or get involved with Harry's Pals?
So if anyone wants to get in touch, please go through our website, which you can find online. Just Google Harry's Pals, or you can email me direct, which is hayley@harryspals.org. And if anyone wants to make a donation, a few quid, whatever you can afford, that would be wonderful. And you can just Google us go to Just Giving and just put Harry's Pals in there, and you'll find our page. And also, if anyone's interested in any volunteering opportunities, just get in touch. We're always open to support. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, that's it for today. Great to have Hayley here in person at last. And obviously you'll find out more about Harry's Pals on our website and on Harry's Pals website. You can also find this episode on our YouTube channel at People in Glazing Society, on our available to download on Spotify, Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts, and also on our website, www.peopleinglazing.co.uk. Thanks again for watching and see you again soon.